들어가자. 들어가보자. 아이고, 하나생명아. 얘네가 진짜 꼴릴 팀이 아닌데. 하늘이 아주 맑구나. 누구 응원하지? 둘 다 좋아하는데.
노란 페이커 T1 파이팅! T1 파이팅! T1 파이팅!
BFX 화이팅!
송영민 짱! BFX 파이팅!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the LCK Cup playoffs here in the beautiful Chijijik Lol Park. I'm Atlas, joined by Wolf, and today we have a matchup between BNK Fearex and T1. This, on paper, looks pretty one-sided. However, I do think some shenanigans could be afoot. Wolf?
We have been seeing our top two teams, Gen.G, who lost their first game of the tournament yesterday, and T1 experimenting a little bit in some of these series that seem like they're a foregone conclusion, that seem like they should just be a shoo-in. And I suppose that's sometimes the best way to test a new composition or test a new strategy, is to put it all on the line in a series that really matters. And so maybe we'll see Scrim T1 today, or maybe we'll see Elite T1, that 3-0, as a lot of people expect. Hard to know, but we do know one thing for sure is that BNK have really surprised people with their success thus far with this roster. They have really turned a lot of heads. Raptor has just been insane. I think BNK keeping this guy through the offseason absolutely was a great choice and has paid off massively.
Yeah. I mean, not to mention the fact that they kept Diablo as well. The fact that this whole team wasn't blown up at the end of last year after a lot of individual success from a lot of these players is a testament to valuing the synergy that has been built. And even though they lost Ryu, I think that they've still kept their best foot forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing what BNK Fearex have for us here today in an intensely difficult matchup, because T1 have been doing a heck of a lot of winning. Kesper Cup semis in 2019.
That's what Sandbox.
Sandbox was able to pick up a victory. That is an incredibly long time ago. There have not been very many best of fives between these two squads.
Yeah, it's really been quite a long time since they have faced off. You guys can see the record there. So this is also total records, as Sandbox came in a little bit late to the LCK compared to the history of SK Telecom. Lee Sin is 6-0 here in the 2026 LCK Cup. Owner has a 73% win rate on it all time. That win rate went down significantly. It was actually for a while at over 90. And Raptor popped off against DNS on the pick. So we'll see how Owner's form is on this pick if he does pick it up himself. As it has just been such a... Only 2 years younger than Diablo, but he has already accomplished... is so much younger, right? And you could argue maybe has a higher ceiling if he has the extra 2 years of time, right, to catch up to where Paze is today. A very exciting bottom lane matchup we have, but the support matchup, that's where it is definitely looking very Keria favored.
I would say so. Keria versus Callan has been a thing that we've been watching for many years now on a lot of iterations, and let's have a look at the red predictions, shall we? There they are. That's all of the red ones. And then the rest of the red ones. It's surprising if this was a
한
matchup
명도
between
없다.
old
딱 한 명 있다,
Sandbox and
엄티.
T1, then it'd be guaranteed to be red the whole way through. But now the yellow is just missing.
Isn't
Because,
it?
and it's understandable. Umti with the 3-2 pred though, I absolutely respect that.
I think we have had 3 days in a row of 14-0s. One of those.
K-보다는
No, actually, that's not true because one of them was a 13.
Yeah, I botched it.
You went the other way, but beyond your genius in that prediction, it has been very one-sided. Yesterday looked a lot closer than I think most anticipated, and today could be the same result here. We'll have to wait and see.
Yep. I had
들어가자,
actually someone
들어가자.
come up to me today and ask, hey, so were you just trolling with that prediction? I'm like, no! I thought that was how dare you say things like that? How could I even, like, I just look stupid. And instead, I didn't. I was a genius. I just knew. That's all right. T1 and BNK FearX making their way out into the Chijijik Lol Park here for this best of 5, their 4th ever, which is just kind of insane to think about as Artie is ushering everyone towards their seat.
Yes, please. It's like those fans got to be part of the walkout as well.
Yeah.
BNK
Get in your seats.
해야겠다.
Hurry up. The game's about to
아,
start.
디아블이
And
너무
actually,
좋아.
Artie needs to like take them to their seats as well, and then potentially fall down the stairs. Do you remember we saw that last
my
time?
God.
Oh my
아,
god, it was
상체는
terrifying.
그
Thankfully,
T1이 좋은데
Artie is nowhere
하체는
near the stairs this time around. Very cool that we
BNK 가
also
너무
have like
좋은데.
the giant fox should be around here somewhere, or at least it has been here on a lot of days. The largest mascots in the LCK represented
뭐야,
here
저거?
today
Mascot
with the
meta.
2 teams. Yes, exactly right. As you can see, they are fighting on that
엄청나네.
particular fan sign.
I am really curious to see where the bans go against T1 because when you think about T1, you think, okay, Azir, crazy strong for Faker. He's relied on a lot.
뭐
hasn't relied on
웬만하면은
as much
T1이랑
recently.
젠지가
Look at the
붙는 게
stats of the bans against
정배겠지만
them right now. 50%
어쩌다
every
BNK가
ban
위로 올라가면
against
그것도
T1.
레전드긴 하고.
Like they have, like it's the highest number of bans for any champion against T1 is the Bard.
Yeah.
That is insane, right? Like it's more than Azir, it's more than Orianna, it's more than Malphite and Jace that has been banned against them. T1 should not be allowed to have their hands on that Bard carry, should not be allowed to play it today. I think it would be a huge mistake. So it feels like you're kind of handicapped, aren't you, if you're BNK coming into this series?
Yeah, it's really difficult, and it's actually kind of weird that their ban stats don't really have very much rumble in there. I think they haven't been paying too much attention towards the top side of the map. Doran's kind of got whatever he can throughout this season so far, and a lot of it has been a focus on making sure that they get the bottom lane in order, and I think that that does kind of stand true to what we've been seeing here in the current meta of League of Legends with just how strong the bottom lane quests are, getting the extra money for the AD carry, and allowing Pays especially to completely pop off. Like, this guy has single-handedly won games that have looked incredibly dire because he is so stable. And for a young player, like you were saying, born in 07,
아, 근데 플레이 스타일이 페이지고
pretty
공격적이어가지고 이게.
Felia's game for Pays against KT was one of the big standouts. We've seen Diablo have the ability to pop off on picks like the Ezreal. He takes every opportunity he has to make the highest impact play, the highest risk, highest reward. He takes that every time. And very rarely is punished for it because his ability to pop off and to mechanically outplay has been insane. I think not enough has been said, maybe outside of us talking about it pretty recently, about Kellen's glow up this year and throughout a lot of the latter half of last year. He's just looking a lot better right now than he was at the end of his D+ days and onward. So I do think this bottom lane matchup is going to be quite interesting, but I think there's no question right now that Keria seems to be the strongest support here in LCK.
I would agree, and I
Duro's very close, but I would still give Keria the nod.
Yeah, Keria has been wearing that mantle for quite some time, and I don't think that he's going to be challenged here today. I think it's going to be about what happens elsewhere on the map, and also what Radha and Lyra have planned for BNK in this draft as well. We know this team is very capable of a lot of experimental drafts. They're very good at making sure that they synergize well on the Rift, and I want to see that as we dive into Champion Select here for game number 1. BNK will be on the blue side, T1 with right of first selection, and they have chosen 2 first picks. So let's see what they're going to be banning away and what the focus is going to be here today, and whether that Bard is still going to be banned, as the Inara is going to be taken off the board.
Gone right away.
There we go.
바드. 그치, 바드를 T1 할 때는 바드 배내야지.
They know which team
안
they're playing
배다는
against. Wolf, that's a really good start.
It's a good
녹턴. 이제 완전히 그건 없어졌나 보네.
Azir Nocturne has been pretty strong even without the Orianna.
Yep.
Especially with certain team compositions that have dive, or if you're looking for a more immobile carry. Like the Varus,
원래는 오리아나랑 아지를 밴했었는데.
BNK here since they are playing second pick here on blue side.
Yeah, I think Varus Rumble are probably looking like the
Ambessa.
most optimal ones, but instead the Ambessa is going to be taken away.
And Doran hasn't played Rumble just yet this tournament. You mentioned earlier, they've been the ones doing the banning. It hasn't been banned as much against them. That may change here as the Varus is banned, and we're looking probably for that Azir Orianna handshake.
Interesting that it's banned on, I guess, I was going to say blue side, but banned first with first pick opportunity. Because it's often one of these priority picks. The Vi is going to be taken away. So that Orianna Azir trade is looking pretty likely. And when you've got Jarvan still on the board as well, I think the Orianna feels absolutely fine. I think as Rumble Orianna would be absolutely revolting.
You can also go Rumble Jarvan here if you prefer it. Pantheon empowers the Talia though. So you get the Pantheon Rumble, and then you have Talia on 3. I know everyone is a little bit low on Talia right now, but I do think into the Azir specifically, which is rarely the matchup we see. It's been mostly Talia and Rise where it's a lot tougher. I do think there is some real reasoning behind going for this style and going for the Rumble Pantheon into the Talia on 3. And Doran will get the counter pick here of the Ornn in the top side.
Yeah, we've seen Ornn do relatively well. She picking up a solo kill yesterday onto Keen. That was kind of impressive. Faker just going to lock away the Xin Zhao for Ona. I know a lot of people want to see his Lee Sin. This has been a ridiculous champion in the hands of this player, so understandable. They do go towards that one. Vikla thinking about Orianna or Talia, and whichever one he locks in, I think they will still have a very powerful top side of the map. I'd probably prefer to see the Orianna. I think that Pantheon is fine as far as ball carrier is concerned.
If you take the Orianna, it means you have a lot of, like you take that away from Faker as well. It's another strong S-tier pick that can work with the Nocturne that's still available, so you always have to keep that in the back of your mind moving forward in the series, and I think that's part of why. Plus the Orianna is incredibly strong in laning phase. But here for BNK, they have not the greatest ball carrier in the Pantheon. They have the equalizer set up with Pantheon, but they are going to need a lot of scaling damage behind this, or at least a guaranteed winning bottom lane for them to feel very comfortable, because we're looking at the Azir and the Ornn on the other side. The late game for T1 already feels stronger almost by default.
Yeah, the good old scaling of building items for your friends. Sounds like a pretty good
아지르랑
one
같이 견제 들어오는 거 막으려고.
And with the extra levels and all that sort of stuff, the fact that you get that extra experience means that those ornaments can come through a little bit quicker. As there is the Lucian ban away from Diablo, one of his best champions. Although I think one of his most impressive performances was on Jhin, kind of ridiculously. Looking fantastic on that champ. We'll see whether that can look in, as it does kind of go okay with a composition like this.
Yeah, interesting to see what's going to come through here with the Corki ban now as well. We're moving down the list quite heavily here, and as the Yunara was already taken away, that's often left up in favor of banning the Azir or the Orianna, the Misfortune. So with Misfortune and Corki, and now the Nico banned, you have a lot of agency to pick Alistar even in this draft, it feels, to get through the laning phase. The Bard is obviously banned as well, and you can just play through that, or just go straight up into the Aphelios carry we mentioned earlier for Diablo.
Wow.
Right out the gate here in game 1.
And also denying it from Pace for the rest of the tournament. That's kind of fun. This would be fighting fire with fire. Jinx has been a classic counter. We've mentioned it many, many times.
But do you take the Lulu or do you take the Thresh?
I'd prefer the Lulu. Carrier would probably prefer Tahm Kench because he thinks that it's an engage support. That'd be kind of fun. But I wouldn't mind any of the three, to be perfectly honest, just making sure that there's a little bit of extra peel for Pace.
I kind of like the Lulu here for Keria because of its empowering of the already incredibly strong Xin Zhao. But Keria is arguably most famed champion of his career, even though the Bard is more recently the new hot for him, is going to be the Thresh they take. And this is a classic, right? The Jinx counter to the Aphelios. We haven't seen it very often because she has been so not meta, not strong, but with the changes to crit, she's incredibly strong on this patch, and players have shied away from her, but Paze is going to pick it up here in game 1. Like, this is usually something you see in game 3, game 4, not game 1 of a Fearless draft. And this is what we saw when I first came into the LCK, when Aphelios was incredibly meta, often even B1'd. In some of those drafts, it was like Aphelios Jinx every game. This is pre-Fearless. We saw it all the time. That the Jinx Thresh, Aphelios Lulu, the classic battle. We have not seen it as a staple here in a really long time, but the Jinx is usually considered to be the counter because it has the extra range, and that range advantage, especially in the laning phase, is going to feel great. However, with the Lulu on the other side, you have a range support who can harass and offer some additional damage. The Pantheon is really, I think, the X factor here in this draft for BNK because it will have a lot of rotational power. They don't have a strong side lane champion to play through, though, because they're playing through the Rumble, so it's a little
is going to really beef him up, as well as the wild growth that will be available there. So the Pantheon, getting him into the right position is going to be very, very important. Is she an idol or something?
Yeah, I think so.
That's pretty.
It's hard to tell which one because she's
얼굴을 다 가리셔가지고.
Yeah, she was definitely very, very incognito. Nakyoung Lee is her name.
Oh, from S9. Okay.
S9, there we go.
아, Promise 9.
I need to know more about.
아, 근데 얼굴을 다 가리셔가지고 안 보였어.
and stuff like that. I just am not in the know. Too much League of Legends on the brain. And speaking of which, let's get more of it India brain as we get onto the Rift for game number 1, BNK BFX against T1.
와우, 목소리 뭐야?
I was really expecting one of the T1 fans to randomly screech as well. As I'm gonna have to hold that thought, as Vikler is dying.
이러면은 미드 많이 힘들지. 원래 같으면 집 한번 다가올 시간이 있었는데 이제
If this was last year, he'd be able to just go back and it'd be fine.
물력 두 개 다 빨아야 돼.
So he's not, and he is just gonna have to play very carefully here, and every single decision he makes, every auto he sends, it's actually really important. Missing that Q, actually quite impactful.
Yeah, this is subpar.
He has a potion, of course, so that will help.
많이
And
힘들지.
once he hits level 2, he will get a lot of health from that, but in a lot of other matchups, might just lose the lane from that alone. Straight up.
Could have been very, very rough. As Clear and Doran laning this one out. The Ornn has actually been relatively good early on in this lane. As you can see here, Doran laning very aggressively right now. But Clear has been doing just fine. Carrier missing that particular hook as we head down towards this bottom side.
Yeah, Lulu can auto-attack.
이번 게임 재밌겠다.
So can Thresh, kinda.
뭐 항상
I mean, it's not
T1 경기는
really
재밌긴 한데
range, but it's sort of, it's more than melee.
상대가 공격적인 원딜인 만큼 공격적인 케이지랑 어떻게 싸울지도 되게 궁금해지고.
Yeah.
Not quite the most threatening thing, but because he misses the hook, you know, that's kind of how this matchup goes. You look for a hook, you miss it, and Lulu's like, all right, well, that's some of your health gone, and that's some more prio in the lane. Good reaction, though, from T1 as Owner's going to go for an early gank here.
이거는
level 3 gank. Zin's out, not necessarily known for it. And we've got Raptor
와드가 없어도 성공할 것 같은데?
has a bit of an idea as to what's going on here, but already when it comes through,
셋.
and they get the flash
그래갖고
through. So beautiful from Carrier.
아, 저거 반응 잘했는데.
Flash prediction, and down goes Diablo. Not enough summoner spells for this bottom laner.
I kind of hate to say it, but like, this is the second time that's happened 2 days in a row with the winning lane. We saw it yesterday, Canyon go for the early gank on the bottom duo of D+, in the same situation with their Ashe Seraphine lane. And here, you're pushing up super far, you don't have any vision, and there's a lot of great follow-up to a Xin Zhao gank here with the Thresh lane. You gotta play more respectfully there. Now, both summoners down for Diablo dies anyways, and all the wind is out of the sails here for BNK's bottom duo.
Yep, this is a disaster. And we know that a Jinx is just going to be able to get better and better as time goes on. Diablo has decided to pick up a cull, and so foregoing any extra pressure, and yeah.
I mean, he just walks right into it.
그 3타 이끌고 정화 반응했는데
to set up a ward, but
아쉽게도.
Yikes. That's I don't know what the opposite of ideal is, but it's that.
And now Raptor is looking for a gank onto Faker here. Does get the flash out as the Aegis comes on through. So Vikler is out of the woods just a little. Let's see whether he can actually even out the farm, as Owner is going to move on over and take this Rift Scuttle towards the top side of the map. So it didn't actually impact his clear too much, but is behind by a couple of camps, as we can see.
Yeah. Not going to be the weak side police there on the top lane for Doran, I don't think. And there is a ward there for clear. He's not going to have the same weak point that Diablo and Kellen had. And, you know, obviously a lot of the time you want to be warding for at level 1 in the brushes to make sure that you end up getting the level 2 advantage so you can push the lane like that. And it is not always going to be a level 3 gank that you expect. It's been much less common recently. But as recently as yesterday and today, you know, if you are going to push that hard, you have to be ready. And then maybe don't walk into the river. If you're just not going to ward initially, maybe kind of path down a little bit.
Yeah, this
is the thing. It's sort of misreading what the potential level 3 timings could have been on that particular gank. And really good, you know, experimental pathing from Owner as well. Of course, not a lot of people expecting a Xin Zhao gank at level 3.
If they do expect it and you don't get anything out of it, the cost is high, right? So it's not, on BNK's defense, it is not something that you expect to happen 100% just because you're that far up in the lane.
Yeah. Well, now Carrier is just off to the side here, making sure that he does soak the experience.
Hayes got his Greaves off of this back. He's ready to scrap and trade back a little bit here versus the of items here for Diablo. Feeling very nice for the Jinx.
Well, there's the flash. Let's see whether Vikla can get that shockwave down. Hits that level 6. And Emperor's Divine is going to be used preemptively here to make sure that he can get over shockwave. Goes completely wide, though, as Faker's just walking it off.
Vikla's
shifts
face.
the sands, and he's just fine.
Faker's just like, no. Good try, buddy. Vikla's face.
And now this bottom lane is just up a creek that they don't like without a paddle. However, that is going to be the first kill going over to BNK. Now Raptor is going to find Faker trying to make his way back, and there is the orb once again. Faker shifts the sands once more, and the spear does go wide. And so a 1-for-1 in the bottom lane, actually better than I was expecting.
아니, BNK랑 T1의 수준이 비슷하단 말이야? 진짜로?
Kill goes over to the Lulu
BNK
on the
그
bottom
정도로
side,
올라왔어?
so not as good as it could have been. Good gravitum there from Diablo. We didn't have flash. Kellen is the one who is going to employ it, juggle some of that aggro back, or buy some time during the turret aggro. As
빅라
Raptor was like, and I took
잘하는
it personally. There, but he does not die, and actually, in fact, stays even in CS. However, 2 plates did go over to Vikla, which will, you know, put him in a pretty significant advantage here. You can see he also has a slight roll quest advantage as well.
Yep, doing pretty well there.
둘이 매자이를 샀는데 아까 미드에서 킬이 안 나와가지고
as well as Faker just trying to desperately get this wave shoved out so that he can go back.
변화 없을 것
Vikla
같은데.
is not seemingly afraid as this huge wave of minions does come towards him. Doran is now burning as Clear, looking for an opportunity. Does have his flash available. The equalizer and the ram just came down. I'm glad that we didn't necessarily have to watch. I imagine that was just an attempted bit of harass with some R buttons.
Yeah, it looks that way. Just no flash employed from either player means doesn't look like they were set up in a way that were really threatening at all. Swifties on the board here for Clear, trying to apply that pressure. And we'll see Doran go back. Doesn't have TP though. And it calms down for a second here.
Yeah.
We were kind of going at 100 miles per hour from very early on at 40 seconds in, that gank onto Vikla. I don't even know if I call it a gank, just a level 1. We don't have level 1s anymore, so like, what do we say? They took it from us.
It's still a level 1. It's just you have a very short amount of time in order to get that level 1 down. So that was high value. Having a look though, things being this even is testament to BNK being able to stabilize. A lot of other teams, things could have gone completely off the rails after what happened in that early game. And Paze is in a very good spot, don't get us wrong. But there's a 20 stack advantage on the cull here for Diablo. And this Aphelios will still probably get to pretty dangerous territory in this game. First Drake going to get started up here by T1 though. As they are on a ward. Phaelite is lit up there.
Yeah, and Raptor does have his ultimate, but there's not really a great angle to employ it for him, unfortunately. Could try to get into the backline with a wild growth setup if we could see Kellen close that gap. He also has level 6. They're going to try for something.
Yeah, Kellen moving over here. I don't know about this one. Wild is available. Lantern can be taken here as the Flame Chompers go down as Vikla for Faker. No flash. Shockwave
Shockwave
3 as the hook is going to connect. Vikla is definitely dead.
호응해줄 사람이
They keep
없었다.
fighting. The answer is no. As Owner just
기압을 뭐라도
dashes
보여주나요?
forward still. Diablo
딜은
fighting
딱히
the
안 하고 이걸 딴다고?
take down the Xin Zhao. And now
여기선
Carrier
이제
is
이게
looking
죽었다.
for him. Red White Guns come in, but he doesn't find it. And Diablo's able to run amok in the fight. Faker able to take
네?
the Lantern out. And so T1 will get away with their
네?
support and mid laner.
Yeah, very close to losing a third there in Carrier, but he does get out. And
오.
unfortunately for B&K, they weren't able to secure the dragon, but they do win the longer fight. Because in this
아니
initial
소스
setup, I was like, okay, they really want to
맛깔났는데?
set up
여기까지는
Shockwave into a
그러니까
wild growth
여기서는
combo, but T1
진영이
plays well.
딱
They collapse onto Vikla first.
돼 있으니까
He still gets a Shockwave off, and this hook is huge.
호응 잘 돼서 우리 딱 잡아내고
in there and then set up a wild growth post Shockwave. It could have been
땄어야
massive. But
되는데
Diablo ends up getting the massive ult
아펠들이
here with the Infernum, and then is able to
장난인데.
swap over to red-white, so he actually is doing massive damage here. They don't have cooldowns anymore. The kill goes over to Paze, or onto Paze, so even though he was
일을
excited,
우리 하나
he's not
뺐는데
able to actually offer that
썼으니까
damage through anymore, and the longer fight is won by Diablo. Doesn't pick up any of the kills, unfortunately, either, but now has 3 assists to his name.
Yep, and that gold lead that Paze had for most of the early game is slowly getting smaller and smaller. So, to me, it's looking like we've got a bit of a game on our
Yeah, I
here in
like
game
it.
number 1. And I do really like the B&K composition. We were talking before about how they've had
붕.
a lot of synergy success as Hook
잘
is going to come down.
들어갔고.
Diablo just walks into it. Pace has to flash. Diablo cannot follow, but Carrier
Thank
is
you.
definitely dead. As yeah,
맞으려나.
Raptor has it charged up. Pace in a bit of trouble.
오!
But Kellen! Help Pitch to
미친.
take the kill.
All right, send him in. And now we really got a game on our hands.
And now Diablo
2,000
really
lead.
doesn't have a kill. Like, this is so annoying.
He is going to have
아니,
a plate
그-
additionally
그렇게
here
딜을
to his
넣었는데
name, at least though, with the
영킬이야.
crystalline overgrowth taken out.
Oh, yeah.
It's a solo plate as well, 120, and he's got Severum, or
Yeah,
Crescendum rather.
Crescendum's ridiculous for taking turret plates as well, so that might
디아블이-
be an extra one to be taken down, especially with Raptor in the vicinity to help out. Let's have a look at this one more time.
It's like, I mean, he's on a ward, but we're still going.
아 끝까지
Pace
괴롭히네
has
여기.
just made his way back and has now lost half his health already.
Oh.
Now he's dead. Diablo is given a kill. There we go. B&K now moved to 6 and 3, 2.5k
아
advantage.
There may be a
1세트는
bit of a bell curve.
BNK가
of us
이겼는데?
having a game and then not having a game that may be occurring.
여기 빨리 튀어야 되거든요
Maybe
이거.
close to not having a game again. Atlas
셀프
just in the
오면
other
답이
group.
없을
Oh
거긴 해
no,
일단.
that's true. We need to.
되나?
Okay, T1 make something happen here as Faker gets the flash down. The ram comes through. Almost knocked up in the game. It's coming back. It's coming back.
와.
Gonna be able to pick up that kill. Kellen is
이건
going
네
down
명이
as
네
well.
명이 들어왔는데
And
이건.
T1 move back towards the driver's seat. As Pace cannot catch a break, man. It's just he's trying to get to a mini wave. His carrier is likely dead. The buffs did come on through, but
도저히 막
Raptor will
포커스
have some more
세라는데.
buttons available, and there it is. Now Ona's come on over though, and no more flash here for Raptor as teleport
큐.
brings the
정복
rumble to the
터뜨렸고.
bottom lane, and Pace is going to come over
도와줄
and
사람이
try and
없다.
grab the kill, but it is Ona that picks that one up.
무리했다.
I do think in terms of the gold, this ends up evening out pretty nicely for T1 after what seemed like it might have been a disaster
씁시다고
there.
어떻게든 빠졌어야
Paze was
되는데.
denied farm. Paze is now in a CS deficit after what was a crazy scenario there in the early game where he got the freebies. Okay.
Yeah.
Vikla, the biggest winner here, arguably, because he was able to deny Paze farm and also get additional money
이거
there
어떻게든
in the mid lane.
T1이
This is so much of a commitment here. Look,
디아블을
Faker's roaming
막고 있다고는
down.
하긴
Viklas in
하지만
the mid lane during this. So,
큰
yes, they end up
성적
getting the
차이로
kill here, but it takes a
봤을
lot
때는
of
디아블이
time.
아직까지는
Mind you, also at the same time, Doran is
미미하지만.
here. So plate gold is going over to clear on this rumble on the top side while Paze is being denied farm. So yes, they do end up getting the kills here.
근데 지금
T1
테이크아웃
do,
그거
but
있으니까.
it's at a heavy cost. And Carrier also dies. He was roaming mid while Paze was coming back, which is part of why Paze was killed a second
캐리어
time.
무빙.
He dies here, but at least it's a trade back. This doesn't really mean too much in isolation. But Raptor is pretty fed in
Yeah.
this game. I think that's
He
his
does
third.
get the flash out of Raptor, which could be important moving later on into the game, but more kills on the Pantheon always feels good. 4, 1, and 2. My goodness,
Oh,
that
that's
was
his
a big.
fourth. Yeah, not his third.
아,
Yeah, that is a lot
20이라지
of gold
저것도
over to Pace,
진짜
though, being
상당히
able to pick
빡세거든.
up that first death for the Pantheon. And so that's why things are kind of okay here on this bottom side. Moonshot not exactly doing too much as Paze gets that shield from the Lantern, but Kellen feeling pretty good on this Lulu, and I think Lulu's power level pretty high, and especially when paired alongside these hyper carries that can really get stuff done in the late game.
I'm amazed.
어, 궁.
Paze.
That's Moonlight
Q.
Vigil that comes down, grabbing him, comes on through.
오,
Pantheon is going
오,
to come down, and
페이즈
yeah, there was no room for
말렸는데 이거
Lantern.
어떡하냐?
Yeah, Diablo is starting to actually get the kills now, too. He's not just getting assists anymore. Yeah, that's just straight up not really much Paze could have done there. Didn't have flash, got hit by the Moonlight Vigil with grabbing him set.
Yeah, and
And
also
see you later.
it's a fed Lulu, so that He's got an ardent sense of
이거
build already.
괜찮으려나? 4대세를
So
벌써
Diablo may not have
봤는데?
any items himself, but thankfully Kellen's built one for him.
근데 조합이
So there
좋긴
you
하다
go.
진짜.
There's a little bit of extra something. This is going to be the first
룰로
straight going over
슬로우를 걸고
BK,
앞에
and
큐
we have a
맞춰가지고 스턴 건
mountain soul this
다음에
game as well.
한턴 떨어지면은
We
징크스
don't get that, that would be
입장에서는
pretty scary, but,
반응을
same for
해도 그게 안
BK.
돼.
You know, we talked about how much of a game we have here. We might have like too much game here now.
Yeah, there's too much.
징크스
It's all
정화
over my
아니잖아.
hands,
베리어잖아.
falling all over the desk. I can't see the monitors anymore. There's just too much
ward.
game
공 받고
everywhere.
큐 찍고
Diablo just hits him over the
궁
wall to
날라오면은
my vigil because of the ward, and Raptor was ready to go in instantly there.
Pays is just not allowed to walk towards his own turrets. As soon as he does that, he seems to
저건
die.
정화를
Ramp
들었어야
comes down,
되나
flash
그러면.
out from clear. Just to avoid dying to Owner's gank there towards the top side, but they do get the flash. That is good news.
T1 are in
이거
serious trouble here. Like this game is
BNK가
very rapidly becoming unplayable. I mean,
너무
now
잘하는데,
There is a
지금.
de-evolution happening of the video game.
Yeah, we're back to this is not a game
라인까지
at
태우고
all
있어.
situation here because Pays can't play the game anymore,
이 무슨
and Diablo
잔이다.
has taken a significant lead. Obviously, the call is about to cash in, and that's going to get even bigger. Notice he is 55 stacks
이제
ahead
미드랑
of
탑만
Pays
크면은
in terms of that call cash in.
다섯
So he's
명
going to
전부
go
다
to 2K
크겠다.
ahead in just a moment here. CS lead is there for Vikla. He has his first item online. Plate gold, pretty massive here, as you guys can see. And B&K, this composition is not supposed to be this strong this early.
Well, it certainly is. I mean, in comparison to the T1 comp, though, it kind of makes sense, right? Because they have a lot of scaling in a lot of these lanes. It's not a lot of win lane, win game for this composition. You could argue that On actually does pretty well into the Rumble, but ultimately is more of that late game champion. Jinx and Azir are two of like
볼
the
생각인가?
poster champions for late game
지금 용타는
scaling.
아니지 참.
Even if, you know, Azir has been in a position where he can kind of lane pretty well forever. This was pretty greedy in the draft. And so B&K, even though their comp does kind of do the same thing, it's better than what T1 has at this stage of the game.
Diablo's had his role quest done significantly faster as well than Pays, so he's starting to get even more money even faster, as that is just how it goes with AD carries. Pays should be finishing his very soon, but Diablo is really, you know, starting to stack up the gold. That Cole cashed in I mentioned, and he is on his way to a second item very soon here. I think with no equalizer, Clear may be in trouble, but I mean, there's not. I have to wait for that next wave if they're going to go for this. Vikla does have
그냥 아지르가
TP.
밀어가지고
Could be a teleport
떴으면은
angle here. We'll just have to see whether they do go for it. And it looks like
그치.
the answer is going to be no. Clear is just
나와서
dead.
그러니까
Owner tanks up the turret quite a lot, but he is absolutely fine as Diablo is behind this turret, and it's all about cross map here for B&K. They're like, we do not care
미쳤다.
about you
어떡하냐.
killing our top laner if we can take the mid lane outer turret
Top
as
lane
well
outer
as
turret.
the top lane outer.
All plates going over, and
그거
Where did the grubs go, by the way? The grubs just kind of went back to the void.
The grub. And they went and went and hid away. They were like, oh yes, it's the bottom lane. That's play. I mean, Doran has spent a lot of the game not in his lane as well, and there's not a lot of prio up there, not a lot to play through there, so we just didn't end up taking them. As Raptor has spent his entire life in this game devoted to killing Pays.
Yep. And you know what? If that's what he's going to get meaning from, he must have a pretty meaningful life. He's been certainly successful. Now has 2 items complete. So does Owner, though, who is pretty strong in this game at the same time. The jungle is in pretty good standing right now. Somehow Owner is actually ahead in gold, even though he's behind in kills. Does have those couple of extra assists and things like that. And so our jungle is very powerful in this game.
They really are. I mean, everybody's kind of accelerated except Pays right now.
Oh dear.
패스가
This is a
오는데
crazy TP.
Yeah, let's see whether this one's going to work out as Clear makes his way in now. Raptor
이걸
gets on top. That's
깔렸고.
gonna be shockwave onto one as Owner
이거
tries to
잘라야
get himself
되는데.
out of there. There is Clear dying though to
진짜 못
Pays.
들으면
Pays
피업해가지고
getting
다시
some more money here.
오는데.
Now Raptor could be taken down as well. A bridge too far.
디아블
away.
아직 안 왔었던
Now
거였고.
Diablo's able to get that damage through. Super Mega Death Rocket though to answer, and now Diablo's frontlining. I'm not sure about this one as he needs as many
저
confidence
누구야?
as he can.
오오오?
Nova was so
앞으로 뚫어?
sexy,
앞으로 뚫어?
finds
앞으로
some
뚫어?
more vigil.
아.
Shuts him down. T1 will find the team fight in the end, but it looked pretty cool on BK's side.
All I have
멋있었어.
to ask is why
와, 한끗 차이였다,
being
진짜.
on display, the Rumble flanking TP melee range equalizer experiment.
럼벌이랑 본대랑 너무
Needs a little
멀었어.
bit more room to go back to the drawing board a little bit, maybe discuss this one a little bit, because he just sacrificed himself. The equalizer
오리아나
value
공 너무
is
빨랐고.
okay here, but you're just otherwise so incredibly split. And if Diablo was not as big as he was, same with Vikla, honestly, I think there's just nothing in this fight for BNK. This flash from Diablo was amazing,
여기
but
진짜
ultimately it
멋있었다.
still isn't enough to kill Pays.
Yeah.
여기 딱 뚫은 다음에
the
이거.
damage is there, the zap is there. Pays is able to take him out.
아,
Even with
근데
the cleanse, that hook was enough
Yeah.
to stop that last auto
안 되는 건 안
attack
되는
coming
거지.
through. So really important there. The carrier did manage to hit that one. He's pretty good at Thresh, is what we all kind of know.
But now the game is more even than it was before.
I mean,
and
if we
T1
look at the bell curve, Wolf, we are back in game territory.
T1 are going to take this dragon. It's their second of the game, which will put them at just a simple one
두
dragon lead here in
번째까지.
19 minutes. But that's a lot of map control taken away from BNK despite those early turrets that went down.
And also, there is a lot of standing gold here for T1. They've only taken the bottom outer turret. They still have mid and top lane to remove, and the plates along with it. So if they are able to take some control, then it could mean that a lot of these structures are just going to go down, and that gold lead could balloon. As now
오른
Doran's possibly in
물렸는데.
trouble. He's looking to try and turn this into a bit of an engage, though.
어.
Just to try and keep Diablo alive.
어.
Faker is down. Faker is taken out, but they are able to answer.
어,
with the whole
뭔 일이야,
bottom lane
이게.
being destroyed. Raptor with the Aegis, not able to get it done, and Pays. Yeah, he's excited now, able to take down his arch nemesis in Raptor on the Pantheon, and 3 already dead in trade for Faker.
아이고.
Clear going to follow. Hook
징크스
cross
W
connect,
피하기가
and the
왜
lane
이렇게
spinner not
힘들어졌냐.
doing enough, and another kill over to the Jinx.
That was
I
a
think, yeah,
really-
T1 are trying to take the game out of
T1.
our hands, Wolf.
Yeah, it was a really clean setup from T1. Again, like, I don't want to say that BNK are throwing this away, but they're being very sloppy with their setups here. Look at where Diablo is. Like, Faker is in shuffle range of him. Now he doesn't end up getting him initially here, but he's
Faker
on the setup
왜
while
썼네.
they're trying to push the banana brush and look for a setup there on the corner with clear. They just left Diablo in a position where he was easily going to be engaged on, and really for what though? I mean, if you can just play this a little
빅나가
bit
일부러
slower, you have the
알고
Orianna
궁까지
ultimate to
줬는데
zone, can prevent Faker from having these types
두
of
명이
plays.
들어가
Right?
버리면
Faker is,
사실
by the way,
의미 없지.
massive in this game now,
Yeah.
and he has been for quite some time. And he's even going to get some additional gold because he's alone there on the top side right now with a big wave. Diablo is not really set up for success in that one, and it was not his fault.
Yeah, the thing that's a little bit of a worry is if your
와,
doesn't
앞에
have
근데
flash,
진짜
you
멋있어
can't be
보인다.
in positions like that, right? Where things can get turned on. Plus,
Or you got to be grouped around
Yeah.
him, right? Like,
and don't engage onto an Ornn.
yeah,
Because he's pretty strong, and he's a secret agent. Like, look at him. 007 there towards the top side of the map. 2 items completed, and does have his own ornament. The Kraken Slayer is now the Kraken Obliterator here for Pays. And even more of those items are going to come on down. So you can see T1 with a 500 gold lead,
it's
something like that. But the
Doran
amount of
has
stats
TP.
they have is much higher.
I've seen this before, Atlas. I've seen the Faker might get caught.
이렇게만 보면은
Oh, no.
And
I think
T1's already
everyone has.
running up.
Surely, like, BNK knows.
They know.
T1이 다시 승리
Everybody's
되찾은
gotta
것
know by
같죠.
now when Faker's like past the equator and you're like, I think he might be a bit too pushed up, but you don't know where the rest of the team is. Just don't go on Faker. They learned, they know. And I thought we might have seen another disaster here for BNK, but doesn't happen, Atlas, and we're just going to reset back to waiting for Dragon territory here, where if T1 get this with an Ornn and a Xinjiao, frankly, Mountain Soul Point feels very potent.
Oh, yeah. Like, even just the individual Drakes feels very, very... Actually gets things done. And T1's draft was somewhat greedy as far as the amount of stuff they have in the late game. I mean, it's 22 minutes into the game. We're getting towards said late game, and with Doran at level 14, he's going to start doling out even more as Pays.
공 깔고
He was on the
큐
map
찍었고
again.
공까지 와.
Yeah, he was almost near his inner turret.
와, 조합
Raptor was like,
미쳤다.
that's just not enough. That's not enough.
That's why I
safety.
said
will
he
kill
was
you.
in the dangerous
Oh,
spot,
바로
which is
바론?
on the map.
Yeah, he wasn't in the base, so which is arguably not safe at this point either. With this
바론
Pantheon.
도적단인데,
They're just gonna
저기.
start the Baron.
Yeah.
Owner
See what
does
they
have
take-
flash.
I mean, there's a lot of damage onto this as well. As BNK trying to get rid of the vision. T1
바론
wanted to
도적단
give this one up.
막아야
Owner
되는데.
going to get engaged on here by Clear. He's the one that needs to be there for the smite, so if Clear can actually get him out of here, that could be a big deal as the hook is going to connect, and Carrier's going to look to try and take down Clear, but now Bacon's in trouble. Polymorphed, and Diablo will be able to find the kill before anything's really happened. Clear is going to get traded, and now the Baron is down exceptionally low. Ona still has a health bar, though.
씨.
It is
좀 누가 먹었어?
secured by Raptor, but down goes the Aphelios, and now Vickler is trying to kill Carrier. He might be able to do so as the
빅나. 빅나.
and Raptor is able to get himself out of there.
이거 때려도 못
somehow
맞거든.
find the team fight. I say somehow. I mean, T1 had to fight without their Jinx, but still, I mean, that was a mess until it was fine.
I kind of feel like that was one of the cleanest Barons I've seen from two teams in like ever. But I mean, T1 didn't have a Jinx, right? And
T1 was just going to look to kill instead take that.
Yeah, so they didn't have a Jinx. They won't have one anymore for a moment here as well. But the way that B&K played this, well, watch how they mark Faker, as we're going to go back to this play first, which is him backing on board, unfortunately.
B&K랑 T1이랑
Yeah. Try, like, Carrier's like, I got a lantern for him, but it's too late. Look at how they play this, though. Faker TP's in, B&K do not, they're like, if we can't kill Owner, we're not going to put this in smite range, we're not going to
내가 하나생명 때 딱 원한 경기력이 이런 느낌인데
and then they turn on to Clear because it's the only
그 운영을 못해서 한타만 잘하든가 한타를 못하면 운영이라도 좀 하든가
He dies. And then T1 try to make this happen, right? Like they're like, I'm not giving this a 50-50. I'm not giving this a 50-50.
바로 먹을 땐 누구 한 명이든 저렇게 돌아줘야 되지.
To go in and almost are able to deny this. Like, I feel like both teams played this brilliantly, and T1 was a team that were playing with one hand tied behind their back and still made it interesting.
Yeah, and that was a 50-50 in the end. As B&K are going to even out the Drakes. Oh goodness, there is so much game. The game is everywhere.
Yeah, it's 33 kills as well in this game.
Yeah.
We are game maxing.
We are definitely game maxing. This is the most game I have seen all season long. As the equalizer is not maximizing the amount of game. It was just hanging out. As now Diablo wants to take down the Sundisk, as Doran is going to get a nice knock up there onto the Aphelios, but his damage is actually quite
탱킹하려면
good.
DPS 필요는 앞에밖에 안 되는데 공 맞았고
Just to take down Clear is now Ona looking for the angle. Diablo still wanting to fight this. And B&K realizing without their top laner, they're going to have a little bit of a struggle. So this Baron is going to be less helpful than it otherwise was.
If there was an equalizer there,
모든
things could
거를
have turned out a little bit differently.
혼자 다
The
해주고 있어.
equalizer was in the right spot. It was just there like 15 seconds early.
Yeah.
Problematic.
Clear is somehow, like, I haven't really looked at this, but he's 0-5-4 in this game.
아, 좀 너무 막 나간 느낌도 있긴 한데
He's 1,000 gold ahead as well.
아까 바론 같은 때는 진짜 클리어처럼 해줘야
0-0-10 on, who's actually doing absolutely fine.
If this was last year,
really far behind.
If this was last year, he'd have like an 800 gold bounty as well for some reason.
그렇다고 이코를 막 날리는 그건 좀 아니긴 했어.
How tanky am I? It turns out really tanky actually.
Yeah, quite.
And
이거
so they
이퀄
punish him
날아가지고
for walking up like that, and it's in fact B&K who get punished as Raptor, or rather Clear, does get taken out.
By the way, that's first strike, by the way. First strike is why Clear has the advantage that he has.
Yes.
That rune, that keystone looking pretty
It's pretty good when you shoot an Ornn a lot repeatedly.
Indeed.
Forever. And the Ornn can't hit you first. You're the one who strikes first, in fact.
Oh, faking damage right now with his Nash's Tooth upgraded.
This is a really good position for B&K on the map, just 4-1 with the Rumble.
By the way,
waves.
Dude, what about, so the ornament name for Nash's Tooth, why don't we call it Baron's Grill?
Why? Oh, okay, I get it.
Don't you reckon? I reckon that one sounds pretty good.
Oh.
Manages to get out of there. That's, that was... Diablo likes to play on the edge.
Yeah, he does.
Say that.
And then the T1 players were like, Pace, come on, you got to work on your recalls. See how Diablo did it? He knows his limits. Yeah, Baron's Grill. I'm down for it.
Heck yeah. All right, so...
Sounds better than Baron's Veneer, right? Like,
yeah, that sounds like you're fixing something. You haven't made a decision to be a little bit more gangster, you know?
Exactly.
I like it. All right, B&K waiting for this next Baron that's going to be up in 2 minutes' time, but Soul Point available for both teams, as this is going to be available for 2.5 minutes.
For B&K has been honestly refreshingly crisp. Like, they've played this really well. They 4-1'd for a little bit to get control over the ball. Over. Diablo had that successful back. They pushed on the top side in the lane matchup into the Ornn, so he has a ton of control there inside pressure. Faker hasn't really been able to breathe that much. finally actually able to push a wave past the river, but that's as far as he can go because there's a Pantheon with ult up, right? So he has to kind of stop there. And I think the way that BNK have used this slight lead that they have right now post Baron, before any of these objectives respawn, has been pretty efficient. Hasn't really given T1 many opportunities to punish them.
Yeah, they've taken a bit of an advantage as well, moving that needle back in their direction. None of it really all that meaningful, and with all the ornaments, it is a little bit dangerous. Oh dear, Faker's in the side lane. I'm saying oh dear for
이걸 깔렸는데
BNK,
이건 빼는 게 맞겠지.
fights like this break out. And T1 don't
헬까지
seem too worried about
뽑았으니까.
it. Teleport is going to come on through though, as Diablo is going to get missed because he does have his trusty minion in the way. Manages to take down the inner turret. Nicely cross-mapped. Like,
again,
this is what BNK have been so good at this
운영
game.
잘하네,
And that is
네.
keeping T1 honest with their plays. As
이거
Doran going to look for a knock-up here, but doesn't quite have
거리
enough.
오우씨 뭐야 잠깐 미친 오오오 룰루 에어본까지 디아블 땄어. 페이지랑 같이 그냥 러브샷 했어. 미쳤다. 와씨 뭐야? 와 미친. 얘를 왜 이렇게 잘해? 잠깐만. 얘네 뭐야? 아니 저거 더비가 아니라 2로 바로 들어가면서 반응 못하겠어. 와씨.
I said we kill the AD carry. Is that the initial part of this fight? It looks like T1 might be able to buy some space back here.
어그로 다 끌리게 하는 다음에
And Raptor set this up.
그냥 이주고 그냥
Amazing shockwave.
와씨
Faker is dead.
미쳤다.
That's half the damage gone, right? Then the wild growth buys some additional space here.
아 2로 들어간 게 W 들어갔지 참. 풀 W도 들어가서 이거 반응을 못.
He cleanses and
아
takes that
그 정도는
extra shot.
더블이구나.
They
와씨
trade each
와.
other, but without Faker here, there is just no way T1 can win the fight back. And this is a ton of gold. This is Baron, as you mentioned, and potentially the game-winning moment for BNK.
BNK 뭐야? 얘는? 왜
Diablo's
이렇게 잘해?
cleanses have been just incredible this game. Every time it looks like he doesn't get CC'd. From the death sentence. The one
빅러랑
towards the top side of the
래퍼가
map was a little
미쳤는데요?
late, but that one was perfect. And made sure that he went 1-for-1.
T1
is
somehow
still going to
gets
be able
soul
to get the
point.
Drake. Yeah, it is a 5,000 gold advantage, and Baron goes over to BNK.
아니 근데 이건 용보다
could mean that BNK can now use this Baron
와,
to get an insurmountable
미쳤다.
lead. There's 4 items on the Aphelios. Diablo is very scary, but now the ramp comes on through. They get the knockup.
와 그냥 녹는다 이제는 뭐 잘 들어가 녹는다. 디아블 와씨 와 미쳤다. 게임 끝났다.
Well, the 45, 1.5 kills per minute game here. This was a lot of game. This is the kind of game where when Alexis explodes, you do truly say
졸라 알차다 그냥.
Yeah, we might do that. Let's try and do the StarCraft thing. Sorry, the Korean caster thing is this Nexus goes down because it absolutely deserves it. And BNK, what incredible play around the advantage that they made for themselves. They made this game their own. And
GG.
What a game!
와 씨. 빅나 래퍼 미쳤다.
From the start with near kill onto Vikla at level 1. Tons of attention to the bottom lane. But Faker, he was so big this game, he had 4 kills, he was never allowed to side lane, and the Pantheon value was insanely high. Killing pages on repeat, preventing Faker from side laning, getting the teleport out of Doran, but then not hard committing. And the 2 fights where Faker's like, I'm ready to carry, I'm ready to pop off, I am a secondary scaling threat. He dies instantly both times.
그러니까 이거 오리아나랑 정글이 이거 미쳤다니까.
Because in both critical fights on the top side there and in the jungle next to the wolf camp, he is just deleted before the fight.
BK 왜 이렇게 잘해? 아니 운영도 운영대로 깔끔한데 한타 능력도.
He did his job, okay?
Yeah.
연습 진짜 많이 했구나.
Timings, Raptor and Vikla's mid jungle synergy. This was an insane start to the series from BNK.
Absolutely incredible game from BNK. I liked the draft. I liked how they played it so much more. It was so good the way they moved around the map. And T1 are always the team that has the tempo, that understands how to use it. And BNK this time, they were reading from the same playbook. They knew exactly what was happening, and man, I hope that means so much more for the rest of this series. Time for us to take a short break. When we get back to space, and then game number 2. We'll see you soon.
미쳤다. 그러면 이따 2세트 때 다시. 그냥 켜놓을까? 그냥 켜놔야겠다. 뭐야. 씨. 바로 할 때도 이거 클리어가 저 죽음은 필요한 죽음이었던 거야, 그냥 결국에는. 여기서 이것만 안 뚫렸으면 사실은 대떡 나는데. 와, 이씨, 근데 이건 아무리 봐도 미쳤다.
오른 공 있다.
높은 거 조심해.
걸릴 것 같으면 말 좀 해줘.
예, 궁 썼어.
할게.
나 아들을 봐줄게. 아들.
아들 터쳤어.
땡크스 받아야 돼,
땡크스
이러고.
봐줘야 돼 이러고.
야, 앞라인 봐, 이러고.
앞라인 봐봐, 앞라인.
앞라인.
실드 있죠.
나 뒤에서 나.
천천히. 2대. 천천히, 빼면서.
나와 높을. 나 땡크스
나궁 받을게.
와,
뒤에.
피읍까지.
가보자.
끝내자. 닭가리 끝내.
끝났어.
뒷탈 볼게. 닭가리 끝난다 이거.
미쳤다, 진짜. 아니, 이런 애들이 왜 전에는 동부였지? 서부 충분한데? 전엔 한타 능력이 약간 딸렸구나. 미쳤다. 저 가지고 싶다.
$45 kills in 31 minutes. A show was definitely put on, especially with the stars coming out today. And it is BNK FearX up 1-0 against T1. Digon here alongside Oxenwood did. What a way to start off this series. Again, winner books their ticket to finals weekend over in Hong Kong.
Yeah, and considering it was 14-0 in the predictions, a good start for BNK FearX. Definitely the expectation was they'd be the underdogs, but they came out swinging in this game one.
I mean, sometimes to my solo queue players, I flame them because they don't really watch LCK and they don't know about the macro, you know? But after these shenanigans, I can't really say anything to my solo queue players. I mean, I gotta give some respect for them. Maybe sometimes they're better than LCK players. I don't know, man. Like, this was full of chaos.
Maybe they were just watching the matches.
아무리 그래도
Maybe, which is
솔키랑
what we're about to do because this one started off on fire. There was so much action throughout, especially early here.
Yeah, I feel like there was some early fights which really were driven by this Pantheon pick, which has just so much power.
여기까지는 진짜 페이커 판단도 좋았고 다 좋았는데 아니 3인공 맞고 시간이 약간 큰 게 약간
And they chase on this play. The Jinx just isn't doing that much in these early fights.
I mean, I think this early pickup on
앞에
Orianna
화염포여가지고 징크스한테까지 같이 딜다가라서
you don't really have to damage. You might know players.
그 앞에 화염포였던 게 너무 컸던 것 같아.
So you
변수가.
gotta just work for your 3 items and then you got the power spike. But in the early game, you can't really do this. So that's why I was kind of wondering about T1's draft because you already saw
앞에
Rafaelios.
판테온 조합이
Sure, you
좋구나. 저
denied the
솔로에
thresh with
써먹어야겠다.
the Jinx, but you don't really have any kind of pressure in the early game. So I think. And also, Paige
그리고
misplayed
페이지 계속
so many times.
말리겠지.
He should know that Pantheon could be there. And also, like, carry, I didn't take care that much about his AD carry. And all those kind of things, Pantheon gets 4 kills in the early game. And I think that's just so massive. You can't even plan correctly after that.
Yeah, the planning maybe not the strongest that we've seen by both these squads, but the hands were on fire. T1 then take control of the game yet again. And then here, it's the Pantheon that starts this one off on the Jinx in the mid lane.
Yeah, recalling on a ward, and Carry is just a little bit too far away in
공
this
찍고
situation.
딱
So even though he
q
flashes to try and save
뭘
Paze,
먹고 와.
Metal Art there in time. And yeah, ward comes down to block as well.
페이지가 한동안 LPL에 있다고 와서 그런 건지 미드라인에서 원딜이 그냥 가만히 서 있으면 SK에선 절대 안
One thing I
되거든요.
really want to focus on is how Kellin played this Lulu. Like, it was really amazing
저번에도
that he always reacts to
저렇게 했던 것
Faker. He's looking at the window. He's Azir. He's known for his playmaking.
아이고.
Here, Vigla and Kellin perfectly just CC chain on the Azir. So Faker
아
cannot
여기서
really do
페이커
anything
없던
here.
이유가 저것 때문이었구나.
Doesn't get to use any of them. So now both of the major carries down. And although they managed to take down with a bit of help from Jinx,
저거 랩터 같이 죽었으면 진짜 대형
there's
참사였다.
nothing they can really do without the damage to back them up.
Yeah, missing smite and nothing is happening afterwards. Sure, you gotta go for mid turret, but again, it all started from Pace getting cut, but it will end up Pace getting
신나서
cut
터져가지고
once again.
죽을만도 한데
Like this is unnecessary. This is unforced error.
룰루 있었어
I feel
그나마.
like Paze was making a lot of mistakes in this game, and obviously when you're playing Jinx, you need your team to sort of protect you and operate around you. But there was errors from him as well. Like that play at the end was kind of unforgivable.
I mean, the thing is, you gotta stop bleeding at some point. I mean, even though you died so many times in the early game, after some fights, he got tons of kills, by the way. Like, he got like, I think almost like 7-8 kills. So he made 3 items. And I think at that point, you can just stabilize a little bit and just breathe in, breathe out, like just slowly slow down the game. But I think he's just rushing too much.
Yeah, definitely. You want to get
오늘
that
어깨가
snowball going.
무슨
You want to get the Jinx excited. And you just saw a couple times a little bit too much. And then finally, yet again, in a neutral game state, they're checking the Drake pit, and it's a close engage by Doran, but a great counter engage by BNK.
This is just great target selection. Again, the combo onto Faker, all cooldowns, none get used because he's deleted instantly. And then we see
아니,
here, Devil goes for Paze.
쇼크웨이브 들어가는 데까지가 1초가 안 걸렸는데.
Beautiful play there, and they trade with the Azir down, with Jinx down. it's BNK Fearax who can clean up the fight.
But if Kellen didn't clean that out perfectly, I think Pace can clean this out.
Yeah, he
for
lives,
sure.
he gets the reset,
Yeah.
and you know, a Jinx that late in the game is so strong.
So it was a full combination of how Kelly played
이번
well,
연도
but also
3강은
focus
젠셋이겠다.
even in the first highlight, he played perfectly on his shockwave, and many times Faker tried to go on the AD carry, the Diablo, to make the play, but he denies with the shockwave every single time. So like that's why like they couldn't really see the window afterwards.
Yeah, and that didn't include the laning phase where they had Faker behind his tower, cutting off, I think, like 2 or 3 waves of experience. Vikla had himself a really solid game from start to finish, but as you said, Ox, it's that man in the bot lane, just Kellen, who is just getting the opportunity to finally play those supportive supports, the enchanters, and showing off why he's so good at it.
Yeah, backing up Diablo, who, I mean, it's so crazy that late in the game, the play he makes is on Aphelios. He's flashing onto the enemy AD carry to just solo kill him. Very bold, but what we expect from him. But yeah, I think going back to Vikla, him and Raptor, you're up against Owner and Faker, such a strong duo together. But they really managed to match them throughout that game, and I feel like you need to keep pace with them, and it's something so many teams time and time have struggled to do. But this game, they really had their number, and it's impressive to see.
Again, Raptor, I mean, I feel like Honor had such a great early game because like we didn't show it in the highlights, but all the early game kills were from Honor. But after that, like just Raptor goes in for the play, and him getting 4 kills in a row made the game really easy for BNK. So everything just set it up on
방금
their
저거
mid
누구야?
jungle, and then the late game
저쪽에
carry from their
뛰어버린 거?
bot lane
저분이
is just
뛰어버린 거?
dream of your team.
And what I love about this is that it's a best of 5. Some of those power
순간
picks
제
now out of the pool. No Azir, no Orianna, no Pantheon, no Aphelios later on. And oddly enough, that Jinx kind of out of the pool. So we'll see what is left in store here for us as we send it back on over the casters for game number 2.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Dealing with just how much game we had in game number 1 and dealing with it beautifully, I might add. And let's get ready for game number 2, Wolf.
It is looking like it's going to be a pretty good night here at the LCK Cup. T1 getting a little bit caught with some greed. Faker unable to press his buttons, as was mentioned. And looks like a BNK fan here saying, let's go to Hong Kong, calling on Genji and Ryu, the ex-BNK coach, as Fox beats down the Ati mascot.
And that would be their next matchup, right? Here in the upper bracket, Genji are waiting for whoever wins right here. And then you are definitely going to Hong Kong if you're in that matchup, right? Because either you win and then you're in the final, or you lose and then you're in the lower bracket final. So guaranteed trip to Hong Kong with a victory in this best of 5. And it would be pretty unprecedented if we got it for BNK. And then, in theory, we could have a rematch in that lower bracket.
It could happen for sure, as BNK will pick blue side here in response to T1 taking first pick again.
Yep.
And so, like it was mentioned on the space
이
by
세트
T1
한
there at the
패
end,
들어가자.
a lot of those power picks are gone. We do have the Aphelios and the Jinx, which are gone quite early, but it can shape especially how the rest of the series is going to look, because Ornn is also gone, right? So Scion stocks go up if you want to play a front-to-back composition here.
1세트 때도 그랬고 2세트
Yeah, so the
때도
Inara was the first ban last time around.
디압을
This time it's going to be
DPS 챔 절대 안 줄 것
And so
같은데.
T1, I think, are going to go for a Inara first pick by the looks of things, based on that particular
바드
ban.
ban.
The Bard will always be the first ban, I assume, from BNK, and I do not blame them for that one at all.
And the Nocturne gets banned again. So even without the Orianna,
랩터가 맵을
match,
넓게 쓰니까
makes a lot of sense.
Man,
Very
a lot of
simple.
junglers being left behind.
Talia without Pantheon may just be out of this series. We'll see what matchups we end up getting. I think the Rise first pick angle for Faker here is quite strong as well, if the Inara is banned by BNK in this final spot. With Jace taking a huge hit in the jungle, that's that extra ban that you get right now. On patch 26.3, Varus is the other consideration. So what do you want to trade? Do you want to trade Varus here
problem
for
is,
the Inara and try to outwin the lane?
I think
There's
if you ban the Varus, though, then the Inara is kind of free because we've seen it picked into the Inara so many times.
라이즈.
And if you don't ban the Varus, then the Varus first pick feels a whole lot better, right? Because the
탈리아?
Inara is then relatively impossible to play.
I kind of feel like they
바우스
should have
만들어놨네.
banned Varus in this situation. But Faker's Rise is a force to be reckoned with, and they just did not want to deal with it. And now we might see a different answer. Like maybe BNK have
탈리아
a
멈춰
response
뽑자
ready
그냥
for this
우리가.
Varus that we're not expecting here.
Maybe the Ashe Seraphine.
Maybe that
being
could be
tried
it.
again.
Callista, I think, is probably not really what you want in this situation. So Jarvan is very good into Varus, so that's a good pick here for BNK to grab.
Highest tier jungler on that's sort of left as well.
Maybe they just play Sivir here and try to spell shield some of that poke from Pays and look for wave clear and play around that macro in the mid game like we've seen so often.
Yep. Could be one of the options here. Then we'll just have to see what Kellen is going to be playing. The
Ari?
will be locked in for Vikla.
Interesting.
So Faker could go to, like, I mean, I know a lot of people like picking the Ari into the Talia, but I feel like Talia can do relatively okay in the matchup as
이러면
well.
무조건
I want to see
미드
a really strong
탈리아인데.
partner for the Talia if that's the route that Faker wants to go. Obviously, the Pantheon is arguably the best on this meta next to Vi, who will probably be banned every game.
탈리아 하라고
And is
그냥.
banned in this one. Ambessa, Talia,
Ambessa?
a little bit less inspiring if that is going to be the jungle pick here, but it is.
안 나오려나?
You know, Lissandra is one of those picks you always think of when you see the Ari, but it's
사이즈,
which has also
와우.
been one of those other great ones
이제 궁밸류가 높긴
to
하지.
be able to steal the Ari ultimate away.
그럼
and
나머지 3명 궁밸류가
it's very
최대한 떨어지는 거
powerful.
골라야 되는데.
in this draft in isolation, but we don't have the most amazing ultimates to steal yet. Like, there's not a lot of setup or knowledge about what the rest of this comp is going to be for a Sylas pick this early, but I do think it's a solid one considering the state of the draft, and you don't want to give Carria's support away this early.
Yeah, it also kind of just
레넥톤.
bans Rakan and Alistar without you actually having to ban them, which is
그냥 바로
kind of
카운터
cool.
나와버렸고.
The Renekton going to be locked in. That is a decent ultimate, especially these days. Can give the Sylas a lot of longevity as well as do a lot of extra damage when you are up in
바텀
the
듀오만
face
잘
of the enemy.
짠다면은 이거
Nar is super obvious here.
뱀픽부터
He's gonna try to
BNK가
protect this
이기거든.
blind Renekton, make it as easy as possible for Clear to play. It's been one of his best picks this season. And they have a lot of single target blow up for this Varus right now, and it's because they have such good follow up to
탈리아를
a
가져갈
Jarvan
줄
flag
알았는데
and drag
의외네.
already. Even the Sylas can be 100-0 if caught and picked off. Same with the Ambessa. So
아 근데 사일러스가 진짜
again, we're kind of
개변수긴
assuming this
했다.
Ambessa is going to be jungle right now, and that is what BNK are doing as well. But that it could also be flexed into the top lane if Owner has something tricky up his sleeve here.
Yeah, I'll see what he does actually want to go towards is Lee Sin, speaking of which, going to be taken away.
So a bit of a catch-all here for BNK. Like, I just don't want to play against Gnar, and I don't want to play against Lee Sin specifically.
The cannon is still available though, so that could be something that Doran wants to look towards, and then there's a fair bit of physical damage in both a Lethalid
I
Varus
think
and an Ambessa.
It's Sivir, right? It's got to be a Sivir
I
lane.
think it
here.
should be.
Ambessa
I actually
정글로
think
쓸
that
것
it's great
같은데.
into Sylas as well. Like on the hunt doesn't give you
Ambessa
massive
정글로
amounts of value
쓰면은
stolen away, and then a mantra
뱀픽에서도
gives you basically
딸리지
nothing.
않거든.
So I think if it's a Sivir Karma angle that they're going for, then it kind of looks pretty good into what T1 have put down already. And so there is the Sivir locked in first. Is Carrier going to pick away the Karma? It would mean that they have next to no engage, and so maybe that is not what they're going to look towards.
Yeah, I don't think that's what you want. I think the
이러면은
Renata is an interesting possibility
탑
because it's very
뽑고
strong into their comp overall to
뽑으면
allow
딱
them to
되겠다.
disengage. But it's a really tough call that has to
아트록스?
be made here. And also, we don't yet know 100% where that
알리스타.
Ambessa is going. You take the Alistar on your side, and this is basically just essentially saying
T1
Alistar's great
입장에서
to
아트록스는
Sivir.
좋지 않을까?
You know, we have the
안배사
Sylas
정글
on
딱
our side,
보내버리고
and now is fearlessly banned for the rest of the series.
레넥
Feels like a very
아트록스로
potent take
해가지고
here, but for top
라인전
and for
이기고.
jungle, mystery still here.
Yeah, let's see what they are going to do.
Cannon is definitely viable here. It's a lot of magic damage, but I think you can play it because it gives you insane engage
아트록스
and can be
가자,
great for
아트록스.
disengage as well into BNK.
Yeah, Carrier taking his time, figuring out what he's going to pick up for either
아트
Doran
아트
or
아트
Owner.
아트
And
렉사이.
Rek'Sai's coming in, so that will be the jungle Ambessa. And Poppy
Poppy.
will
Pretty
be
good
the
Poppy
lock.
angle.
와우
Like you can, when you go
너무
for Poppy
좋은데?
support, it's so scary unless you have all the information, right? And when
Yeah.
you have second pick, you get to pull
아
that
그러네
card
포비가
out.
썼지.
And Edo locks it in here. He's saying, like, okay, this is great into Sylas, it's
그냥
great into
빅총평
Ambessa, it's obviously
이러고
pretty good
하면은
into Rek'Sai as well, depending on how you play it. And for zone control on objectives, if you can knock even just one
사일러스
or two
픽은
of those
진짜
threats away,
개크랙이었다. 엄청
your
좋았다.
Sivir can do great work, and they have
근데
the engage as well to
서포
back
쪽에서
it up.
뽀비를
I think
먼저 안
T1
가져간
have a
것과
draft that
아트록스를
when
안
they put
가져간
this
게
on, you're like,
걱정이
oh
된다.
God, that's horrifying. Like, they got Varus on patch 26.3 like that.
On this T1 composition is very scary to deal with, and we know exactly what these players are capable of when they get their hands onto picks like this. So let's get into the Rift here for game number 2. I really do appreciate that one BNK fan that screeches every time. You know, they're just trying to even it out because we know the T1 fans are just pretty loud. Today,
in game 1, it was so much louder than it was that it made me make sure everything was safe. Like,
yeah, we both looked around. We're like, hang on a second.
It sounded like something nefarious had occurred, or
뭔 일이래?
gonna get level 2 eventually. We'll survive this.
And now Diablo gets to just press W and make the waves disappear. Obviously, it takes a little bit longer at the early levels, but still going to guarantee the shove, as he does a pretty good job clearing out all of these minions as well. So finally, Pays gets a wave to have a look at. Spectre connects some chains here onto Vikla, but he gets lit on fire. And Vikla is able to stand his
미드만
ground.
조심하면 사실
Really
세 라인
the
다
Ignite tech,
좋지
the
않나?
Field Deny especially as well, into the Silas.
Yeah, the all-ins are actually pretty dangerous here for the Ahri.
And you have to be really careful, but ideally you don't want to get caught by chains ever, but the Ignite buys Vikla that extra space here to win the trade anyways. But it's a big trade-off, obviously, without teleport.
Yep, and you're not a top laner, so you don't get it for free.
Yeah, at least you have home guards, I suppose.
All right, so Vikla is going to send Faker home a little bit early here, but he's just going to go for a tempo back as good steadfast presence there from Kellen, and Keria takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, it turns out that Spell Shield's not very good into Alistar, but Steadfast Presence is.
It very much is.
Kind of covering that little base there as well.
And, oh, okay, good charm connects onto Faker here, who hasn't actually teleported yet, thank goodness, and he will now go back home.
Greeting a little bit there, but will not die.
Oh, Doran in a bit of trouble. There's the flash from Clear, and realizes that he doesn't actually have kill pressure. So that is just flash on cooldown. Doran now looking to go back home. As Raptor, Flagon, and Dragon looking to get towards Ona, who is in the river here. All right,
this
so
is a
almost
BNK game.
Stuff. Yeah,
it's a BNK game. There's no breathing room. There's no early, like, oh, let's see how this laning phase goes. It's been pretty calm, just farming it out. It's just constant aggression, but it has paid off. Well, minus the flash on the top side. That one didn't really pay off. But otherwise, it's been paying off.
Oh, heal coming on through here as Pays in a little bit of trouble. Keria wanting to get that headbutt angle, but Kellen has steadfast presence, so it's so hard to press that W button. Oh, man. All right, BNK with retained control here towards this bottom side. And it is translating into a little bit of a lead as far as money is concerned for BNK, but nothing that's too much to worry about on the T1 side.
Hayes does have teleport, so, you know, Diablo wants to try to force these all-ins as much as he can. Used the barrier earlier. Doesn't have it anymore, but we'll have it up again soon. But because of the teleport, even if Hayes gets chunked down, can always feel pretty safe to just get back to lane for free. As Vikla, again, just trying to trade aggressively. Knight comes back, he can continue to do that.
솔렉에서는 사일러스 아니면 무조건 사일러스가 이기던데.
In the mid lane,
Yeah.
taking a very significant CS advantage and is chipped away at the second plate. Gonna force Faker to take another early back here, and doesn't have his teleport anymore. And because Vikla took Ignite, you want to be able to get this value early, and so far it is working incredibly well for him.
Yeah, this is what you need to do if you have decided to not take the teleport.
Like, look at how much Faker can potentially lose here off of this wave as well.
근데 후반
because he has
빼려
to run
보면은
back.
사일러스가 더
He has
높아서.
boots, that'll help a little bit, but so much lost money.
Yeah, home guard, pretty important for trying to avoid that, but as you said,
초반만 넘기면
not able
사실
to pick up too many of these. Boomerang Blade, high value there from Diablo.
별거 아니지.
T1 with this wave pushed back should be absolutely fine. Both of our bottom laners with culls in hand. As Raptor looking for that angle, in goes Kellen. And Keria will just wander towards the Jarvan. There is the flag and drag buffered beautifully by Raptor, gets himself out of dodge. And the mid lane under control here from Faker as he does make his way back. And so understandable that they don't want to go too far. It's clear with the dominance against Doran. And the slice comes through, but Doran tunnels his way out.
Too bad.
He has to go back home.
Clear flashed earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish you had it there. But he is still going to get a pretty nice advantage from this, and will continue to hit that topside turret. So not all for nothing there, despite not having the flash to follow. Gets the flash out of Doran, and will get plate money and deny farm.
Yeah,
BNK's early game.
Knock up as the flash charm comes through. Ona is lit on fire, and that blood going over to the Jarvan. Vikler avoids the chains as Faker is still in the ulti, and will find the follow-up kill. Now Carrier moving over, but is unable to get the headbutt over the wall, and does have flash, but did not want to invest it. So Faker's on the board, but so is Raptor.
Raptor picking up that kill rather than the Ahri. Ideal, but still a very aggressive play. Faker is able to trade it back, but some really nice footwork there from Vikla.
Yeah.
Luckily for him, he's not the one who dies. So that's a big chunk.
Yeah, good old Varus just being able to do a whole lot of damage. I believe that was W empowered.
Yeah, with the cull in inventory.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have a Dirk.
Not sure where that damage came from outside of pressing W. As Vikla still with the lead here in this mid lane, but let's have a look at how this all eventuated as a battle over the ward sort of started it off.
This mid-jungle synergy and the communication and how crisp they are with this, also the dodge on the chains here from Vikla, very impressive. Raptor went so deep though that there's no real way to get out of here. Faker flashes.
아리공이 사일러스한테 너무 제격이야.
Not able to get on top, but keeping them honest, making sure that Kellen was rotating up. And that is denied. Man, this Poppy is going to be such a big deal in this game. Like, so much of this rests on how Kellen plays a lot of these later game team fights, with the amount of value that you can get out of the Steadfast presence, and with the fact that creating space with the Keeper's Verdict is going to be so incredibly important. Owner is making his way in. Public Execution goes wide though, but the chains do connect. Good charm from Vikla, but I don't know whether he's out of dodge just yet. As he is going to get taken down. There is the Cataclysm though.
걸었는데 텔레포트 우쪽이 랩터 쪽이 더 빠르고.
Teleports coming in, but they're turtle ports.
와우, 씨 그냥 밀어버리네.
Takedown from this Poppy as he just heroically charges Ambessa to the Nether Realm.
Yeah, that was a pretty quick reaction there from Kellen, despite the fact that the turtle port takes forever to get in. He was able to get that punish there, and he communicates with Raptor. That's why Raptor commits the Cataclysm and Flash to hold him down for long enough. It's a kill onto a Poppy, so not the most impactful, but it pushes Owner off of the map, which is the more powerful aspect of this.
Yep, there's also the fact that now Faker has a gold advantage.
Yes.
And that's the big deal here. T1 are making sure that Faker is going to be a menace in side lanes, and I think at the moment, it's looking like mission successful.
And it's
crazy
that Vikla, like, he's able to react here and dodge, but because he doesn't have flash, obviously, he could dodge one, but you know, you can't really get both. As Raptor does come over here quickly, flashes for the Cataclysm to hold Owner in place so that this Poppy can get something done. He actually almost gets the damage done himself with that last flag. And
yeah,
ultimately, Faker gets a lot of money, like you said.
Yep. And if Kellen actually could have stuck around and possibly got a heroic charge into the wall in turret range or something like that, it might have been an extra kill. So the fact that Raptor wasn't able to finish off Owner with that 1Q, actually kind of a big deal. As Clear once again just doing a little bit too much damage to Doran, but is taking a fair bit in turn. Still has dominance, so obviously not close to dead.
The Executioner's calling is super high value in this matchup, and he got it early with the lead that he had, and was able to really continue to apply that pressure and hurt the sustain of the Rek'Sai, something that you don't normally get to have with a pickaxe as well in inventory this early. So feeling very powerful, and it will wield the sword to its fullest effect here. As Vikla is no longer in free bully territory, has to play really well, as you can see here, to try to trade back. Raptor nearby.
Yeah. And Raptor is going to now try and challenge for this dragon.
우선
Kellen moving over.
피하다
Does have the Keeper's Verdict available. Let's see whether he can use it to guarantee some position. But there's the flash pulverize. He does get the ulti off, but it's only on the carrier, and he just dies. As a result, still Raptor's able to take the dragon. That could be important. Flags and drags, gets himself out. Poppy for Drake. I guess you possibly take that.
Yeah, it really depends on what soul we get, but feels pretty nice, at least initially here. As top laners both having teleport, but we're not interested in the dragon fight, which does make sense, especially because of the ability to stop said teleports on both sides. And Raptor now has his Sundered Sky. He got out, did have his flag and drag, didn't have his flash, which was a big concern for looking for that contest on the dragon itself.
There's a big old Cataclysm. Manages to get the ulti out of Vikla here, as we do have the...
잠깐만, 이건 죽었는데?
See the charm, still the Cataclysm comes in, and Raptor's there to bail out his mid laner.
Man, the mid jungle today out of BNK is pretty unreal. Game 1 to start things off with the Pantheon Orianna, and then here on this Ahri. So many resources being given to Vikla, but man, Raptor has been everywhere. The Poppy ultimate here does push the Alistar away, but he sacrifices life, but it ends up being enough space here for Raptor to get this dragon without using his flag and drag, so he can then use it to escape. And the Raptor comes in here very late. And it's almost as if Vikla and him have been coordinated, because he was walking up mid straight up before this, right? And then Vikla misses the charm, but that's the go button for Faker. He's like, I'm going in, and look at this, just barely.
Yeah.
Not enough damage.
It's crazy because T1 pinged exactly where Raptor was at that time as well. I think they knew just how narrow that window was. The flash forward from Clear looks to take down Doran and just barely misses it once again. But it's a win flash for flash and sends him home.
Sends him home, and he has his Dominus running. He can go over here and take some additional plate money and force Doran to TP. He gets to hold on to his. A huge win here is Clear. Having a really nice performance on this Renekton. Again, like I said, is probably his best champion this season. They gave it to him earlier. They protected it with an R-ban. It is working a treat.
Yeah, and it's not exactly the Rek'Sai matchup that you really want, right? Often Rek'Sai wants to abuse tanks. Renekton is not a tank, and so maybe not necessarily working out for that reason. As Vikla clearing out this wave quite nicely. Look at how tanky this guy is. He's got his Black Cleaver completed already. Clear ready to cut down Doran. And Vikla now freed up
렉사이가
in
너무
this
아쉽다.
lane.
렉사이하고 딴 거 같지.
Oh, true. Okay, let's see whether they are actually taking
I'm just
3
kidding.
minutes. Yeah, Owner is no. I mean, Owner is right next to it, but I just don't think he's going to be taking it. We do have a ping out from Raptor, though. So maybe that means that B&K are going to look to take that down. Man, Diablo is almost insta-clearing waves already on this Sivir.
And, I mean, now Jarvan clearing towards top side here. Maybe he gets one, you know? I mean, you're nearby. What do you think, Raptor?
He did ping it.
He's pinging it. He's going. There's no cross map, really. So T1 going to rotate Pays into the mid lane here. Yeah. Baker's going bottom side, but doesn't have TP, and I think it should just be free grubs here. And Vikla can hold this wave, and then they could swap him to the bottom lane and send the Sivir mid. As B&K once again, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it's solid macro.
Well, Diablo is in a little bit of trouble. However, Faker runs out of buttons to press as Vikla. Wow, that was a lot of damage out of Pace. Actually threw out the Chains of Corruption to make sure that that Blight was stacked up.
Yeah, unfortunately,
vision where he can.
For T1, not able to get anything huge back, but at least delay some of that swap back for the Sivir into the mid lane, and we'll be able to get plate for Pays. Pays plate goes over, and now the Ahri does go to the bottom lane. Diablo's going to come here mid. Few minions lost, so T1 get a return for the 3 grubs.
이 정도면은
That's all right. Doran is going to be feeling a little bit better now that the Titanic Hydra is completed. Clear still will be just fine. Culling the
그리고 그렇게 크게 안 떠났을 때
lane as Diablo parked
이후에는
mid,
더 이상 못
the favorite
받고.
place of the Sivir.
Likes to be there. He's not really clearing them fast. He wants to just kind of deny here a little bit, keep the wave in a safe spot, which does make sense. And we're going to have, in the next minute, that dragon here. B&K could take a 2 Drake lead. And
페이커가
a
한번
very valuable
빙가를
individual
쏠
Drake
그게
here
진짜
from T1 in
베스트긴
that
한데.
mountain. Be pretty huge for them. Pretty decent for B&K as well, just stats-wise, but for T1 it feels arguably way more valuable.
Yep. I think as well, Double Dragon would mean a whole lot in this game especially.
Yes, with the Sivir and the scaling elements that we've already discussed with that. So much extra freedom to just farm it out and ignore team fights. This game is a lot less bloody than the last one, but still a lot of action.
There's another Dominus as Raptor's going in, but so is Carrier over the other side. But trading places is not quite working out. Public execution.
랩터기 너무 위험한데?
And as the Cataclysm comes down, he tries to get out, but he fails. And it's Owner that takes down his opposition. Kellen's flashing. They know that they have to get out of there, and Diablo has to flash as well. As the Faker has discovered the Poppy. And I don't know whether Kellen is going to be escaping this one. The charm is going to get avoided, and Kellen should be going down. It takes a bit of Kellen to take down a Poppy, but Faker is going to get him in the end. As Clear might just take this turret and got a solo kill onto Doran, I believe, in the top lane while that was all happening.
Yeah, finally he got the kill he's been looking for all game. Finally this time the margins were there.
아니 근데 탑이 이기는 것보다 용을 먹어야 돼가지고.
Ends up killing the Rek'Sai there and taking the turret out. So going back to this fight, it's a little bit bizarre. Oh, we're just going to watch this first. Let's see.
Yeah, this was when the Dominus got popped, and I was expecting Doran to just kind of tunnel. But
타워까지 밀면은 그때는 용 값보단 더 높긴 한데.
And then here, not 100%. what the game plan was for this one for Raptor, because Pays is here and Diablo's on the other side of the wall and is not that high range on the Sivir. And then there
현준
was some
선수 정말
shenanigans here where
잘한다.
Kellen tries to
그래서
buy time to try to deny Faker. Faker's flash is phenomenal against the charm that Vikla has over the wall here. The reaction is so crisp. Watch this.
사일러스?
He's just not going to
매운
let
맞았는데?
anything go wrong in this one, and we'll pick up the kill.
And so Rift Herald, in the meantime, is going to go over to BNK. That might help alleviate some of the issues, but Faker is problematic here for BNK. 4-1-0 on this Silas. They've made sure that the money goes his way, and they know, I mean, Faker has won world championships with this champion. He is very, very good at getting the value out of Silas.
Yeah,
스킨을
it turns out
스킨의
the guy who's
주인이긴
played the
하지.
most champions in mid lane over the longest period of time, who has the most experience in League of Legends, can use the ultimates of other champions
Yeah, I'm
incredibly
surprised
well.
he doesn't play more Viego mid, because I feel like his skill set would certainly help him there.
Yeah, you might be onto something.
We'll see whether he does get there. Viego was almost a mid laner.
It was
at
for like 2
1
seconds.
point, yeah.
Remember Chovy played it fairly recently?
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
funny.
It was that one time, and then I think it got nerfed into Oblivion, or they just realized it wasn't good, and then no one played it anymore. And that made me a bit sad, because it is a fun champion to be available on the Rift.
Viego's Q is very difficult to balance around not being in the jungle. And I think that's why they have to be very careful, the balance team that is. As a TP is going to come through here for Faker. And we're grouped around the bottom side. There's no dragon for 3 minutes. We're fighting anyways.
Yeah, Rogue Charge comes in. Carrier does have the ulti. His
또
Corruption
살아남을리는데,
does
이러면.
connect. And now Raptor well in amongst it.
오,
Execution,
중으로.
not quite going to work out, but even through the Unbreakable Will,
더블로
it is going to be the
막았고
cow going down. Great steadfast presence there, but Kellen, I think,
아리가
is
아무것도
still
없나?
going to get taken out as Faker is just way too big in this game. Took a lot to take down the Poppy, though, and there is the shutdown onto Diablo as Faker is going to fall
아리 매우
finally.
매우
And now
풀.
you've got Raptor riding this Rift Herald into all the
멀었을 텐데,
crystalline
그래서.
overgrowth in the mid lane. That is going to be BNK taking out this outer turret in mid,
The second
getting
turret of the
even
game.
more money.
Yeah. This is a really strong position here right now for B&K.
Diablo.
And like, I don't know where he's going to send it. I guess just
into the wall.
Into the wall. The fights, we keep watching these fights where Kellen dies, but he does so much work on this
바텀
Poppy.
내려가면
Like,
바텀도
goes
부술 수
in here
있었을
onto
것
Carrier
같은데.
to start things off, right? And the enemy jungler isn't anywhere nearby, so the punish play here during Carrier's ultimate just really isn't there. So Carrier is tanking, but they can't really get
Wow.
anything in return.
타이밍
And so many of these
절묘했다.
fights I'm watching, damage dealers on the side of T1 or junglers getting hit, and Kellen's the one who's getting hit on the other side. He's blocking for
공 두 개 다
Vikla here,
저점을
right? Poppy just
가가지고.
takes so long to take out. Vikla just changes targets here initially, zones
안배사는
over the way, hits the
뽀삐공
charm onto Faker, and
버티는
Hayes is
용도로
solo,
쓰게
can't
됐고.
rejoin. Then Doran TP's in to try to save the day and can offer
자르바는
nothing.
안배서 공
And
버티는
Kellen
걸로
is
쓰게
just,
됐고.
he's everywhere in this game.
And Faker also missed the Keeper's Verdict that he'd stolen away.
Yeah.
And so actually kind of a big deal that he needed to invest so much more time to try and kill Kellen. A large reason why it looked like this Poppy survived for way longer than he had any right to. As Vikla clears out this wave. But look at the massive lead for this Crocodile. I mean, Clear is just so large in this game. And the fact that Doran isn't really able to do too much and is soon going to be staring down the barrel of a 2-item Renekton. As soon as Clear turns up into team fights, what is Pace supposed to do?
Yeah,
you know?
he's run away and hope that Faker's big enough. And right now, Faker's lead is significantly smaller than it was before. He's the only one with the lead here for T1 anywhere. And I just am starting to worry that this Sivir has gotten too large, too early, and the composition is just so easy to play out from here. And Vikla's having a phenomenal performance, one of his best picks.
Yeah,
진짜
he's
컨디션
looking real
좋은데
good.
오늘.
Faker, though, is the one that's still holding a gold lead for T1. And it's just such an unknown factor. The Silas we saw in the last fight didn't quite work out, but in the next one, it may just hard carry, you know? As Doran is going to get interrupted. It's just a little bit frustrating. I don't think he's going to be going down. But look at this. The Bash brothers have so much health, and these two brawlers are really going to be a struggle for T1 to figure out.
We haven't talked
이
about
정도
it too
골드
much,
차이면
but
다시 벌어들이는
Cloud
거는
Soul
문제도
on
아닌데.
Sivir
Oh, yeah.
and on Ari.
여기서 더 벌어지면
I was
그때부터
just, I
약간
was just
문제 되지.
quietly very happy.
And, it's
Cloud
kind of like, it's pretty big. It's obviously very good for Silas and Ambessa and for even the Alistair as well. I mean, Cloud Soul's just really powerful, but if B&K are able to get this and buy additional time for this Sivir comp that they don't even necessarily need, it's pretty huge, but they are not set up to contest, and there's no TP for Vikla.
All right, now they're going to try and turn to Raptor.
자르반 먼저,
There's the
자르반
flash
먼저.
knock-up as Keep
오,
is
씨,
vertical.
켈린.
Just gets rid of two of them and keeps Raptor alive. Still, the Drake is going to get rushed down, and T1 will hit Double Dragon before B&K as Faker. Okay, Charm is going to miss. Faker's reaction time
저걸
is
피했다고?
really making me feel like I should be better at League of Legends. I keep blaming the fact that I'm getting on in age.
He's still younger than you.
He is younger than me. However, his
아니,
reaction time is
저 매우
definitely better
어떻게
than
했냐?
mine ever was, ever. You know, I could have been an infant and I would never have been able to react that well.
I am a little bit
페이커 컨디션 오늘 되게
like
좋긴
the way that was
한데.
played out for B&K made me feel a little bit nervous about what the rest of these fights could look like because it was a bit haphazard. But however,
All right, there's a knock-up onto Owner. As Chain's going to miss, Vikla now looking for a way to get in. Great Charm is going to connect, but the public execution is going to mitigate it completely, and down goes Raptor. Vikla should be following here as the auto is in the air from Pays, and they just wipe out the boss lady. That should be Baron, and oh dear. Oh,
yeah.
the game was there, it was on the hands, and now it's missing.
Yeah, I kind of was leading into, I'm a little bit concerned about how B&K are setting up because it's very haphazard because of things like this, right? It's a very scrappy composition that T1 have with Ambessa and Silas, and if you give them the opportunity, they will just smash in skirmishes, even with this gold deficit, which is quite small now.
랩터 너무 몰리는데.
As the timing on Owner's ultimate is what really is the kicker here because he's able to mitigate the charm entirely as Vikla avoids the chains, and look at this charm, he's like, got him, but unfortunately,
같이 그냥 뽀삐랑
does
같이
he
나오지.
mitigate it, but he also takes Raptor out at the same time, and Vikla's way too deep, cannot escape. And so that's 2 kills, and that is the Baron. In the meanwhile, Clear did get that outer turret in the bottom lane, and is still a big threat on this Renekton, but T1 have taken control of this game.
Yeah, Pays now gets the evolution on his Mirror Manor at the same time. That's 3 items complete, as he already had the Edge of Night done. So this Varus is extremely scary, and you can see, like, Diablo, I believe, is building towards Lord Dom's next as well, so that's going to put back the Infinity Edge that he really wants a little bit later to 4 items. And so this Sivir is not going to be that massive threat until much later in this game, if we even get there, as T1 look to take down their first turret of the Baron.
Yeah, that
already
이제
the
슬슬
Rebel Baron
골드
power play
걸려야지.
taking over 1,000.
That's the gold lead for T1 really for the first time, but it's more than gold that T1 will gain from this, as you mentioned, and all of this control, all of this siege, putting the Sivir on the back foot, they're going to turn that into a turret take here in mid, which is arguably the most important turret right now that T1 haven't gotten.
Well, there is Dominuses happening all over the place here as Faker is fighting against Clear. Doesn't quite find the Chain Lash, but Cull the Meek not exactly doing exactly what it wants. As Faker gets flashed on here, Clear looks for the angle.
오, Clear.
The only way
Clear cleans him up.
The only way Clear wins that is buying enough time. He's gonna get the TP out.
Oh man.
The only way he wins that is if he gets enough from his Dominus to actually get the empowered W. He knows that. He flashes on Faker. Faker does not react. The empowered W takes him down. That was a really good judgment there from Clear in that moment. Knows his Dominus is ticking. Knows he can get that W off. That's all he needs. Faker looks pretty frustrated on the player cam there because that was a huge opportunity. He thought
페이커는 그걸 2로 가능한 거
he's 2
자체가
levels
좀
down
놀랍긴 한데.
because Clear finished his quest a long time ago and it's quite massive on this Renekton.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where, I mean,
you feel it.
Yeah, Faker presses tab a lot, right? But he maybe wasn't focusing on the fact that Clear had gotten a gigantic lead in this game. And so maybe had some choice words for Doran afterwards. He's like, what did you do to this crocodile, man? Let's have a look at this one more time, as honestly, it wasn't like that. It was very close to Faker actually winning out on this trade.
6, 5, 4. He needs it so desperately, right? Gets the empowered Q, backs away, waits for his Fury, and waits for his W. Flashes on, gets the W, Qs him, and has enough damage there with the slice and dice coming up at the last possible second. Clears judgment, insane in this moment. And then takes the teleport out.
Just gorgeous. Also doesn't take the cannon because he knows that otherwise he'd die. Everything about it just gorgeous.
아직까지도 역전이 안 됐다고.
So this Renekton, certainly the big boss here for
이번에 역전
BFX.
될 수도
3
있겠다.
items now done for Diablo as well as the Lord Doms is now complete.
This Ambessa is kind of crazy big as well here for T1. Like, Endless Hunger, an item that I think Riot built for champions like Ambessa, but junglers don't always have the income required to have that. But he also has the Death Stand, so he's difficult to kill, is going to be dashing a lot, is going to be doing massive amounts of damage when his Shojins is constantly stacked as well. Like, this is Ambessa's dream, these 3 items all together. And with Silas there as well, Diablo has to be very careful about how he's positioned. It's going to take a long time to cut through that front line.
Yeah.
슬슬
Let's see
용타임인데.
whether B&K can find themselves a team
Oh,
fight. That's gonna be
아래,
the
아래,
question
아래.
as Vikla has to throw down the ulti. Doran a little bit frustrating here on the sidelines, but does have his ultimate on cooldown as well. Maybe isn't going to be quite as dangerous in teamfights. Still, this is going to be sole point for T1 if they're able to lock down this dragon. And they do pull it out, and I don't see too much of a contest here out of B&K. Let's see whether Raptor can go for a bit of a steal as Keeper's Verdict just gets cancelled immediately.
Yeah, they just want to knock one away to steal one. That
어허? 이걸 왜
hoping
캔슬하지?
for Keeper's Verdict into a little flag and drag action. Maybe they can get the punch.
Yeah, as Chains of Corruption connects onto Kellen, he just absorbs so much damage and is now just not really going to be a factor here in this fight as Doran tries to save this turret. These minions just die so quickly.
일단
Faker in
대골은
side lane, though.
역전
This is the
됐고요.
problem. T1 can just sort of build the clock.
Faker also, I think, I'm not sure if he should stay here because
자로
there's
혼자면은
company coming.
뭐야, 둘이네.
His top laner has teleport.
Yeah, and we know that just the
이거는
Crocodile is a
빼였죠.
dangerous one. Now there's a job in there as well. Teleport's coming in, Cataclysm goes down, and
And
now with
guess
this
what?
teleport coming through, Doran does have a large shield, but I don't know whether he's going to have it for very long. And in fact, it just immediately evaporates. He now has to tunnel his way out. And with On the Hunt, there is a chance that B&K can even catch up to this Rek'Sai, although Raptor is going to find it with the
따나요,
flash.
따나요.
Doran now gets a little bit of a knock-up, though, and does have the ulti back on
W.
cooldown, and Clear is there with the Ruthless Predator, and down goes the Rek'Sai.
B&K out macroing T1.
오,
Yeah,
오.
and maybe it's not over, as Owner is going to discover Clear and then just dashes away, Ambassador style.
Like everything about what B&K just did, beyond like the kill they get onto Faker, Doran's TP is late. He
3명을
dies, just an
먹혔는데
extra donation, but the way they set up that
아직도
dragon as
B&K가
well, like,
유리해
alright, let's
보여.
see if we can get the Keeper's Verdict steal.
뭐지?
Also, Sivir's pushing mid. We're gonna get plates. We're threatening the mid turret. We're doing all this at the same time. And then we're going to be able to get the punishing on the
용에서
Faker. If he stays,
꽝한타를 안
Faker
해서
decides
그런가?
not to take his empowered recall because he has empowered recall, right? And he doesn't want to use it here. And he's like, maybe I could stay, get something out of this because Doran has TP. But this Renekton, I thought we made it clear, pun intended, that this guy is just going to do damage too quickly. And then Doran is just a wet noodle in this game. So he shows up and he's like, oh god, well at least on Rek'Sai I can get out, right? But unfortunately he doesn't really have tunnels set up on this side of the map. And Raptor catches him here and he will also fall.
It was actually almost enough damage there, but Clear with the buffed W means that there was no way that Doran was going to do anything at all. So really nicely played from B&K to make sure that they could get both of those kills. They've been invested to make sure that it happens.
Those kills mean that they can get some vision around Baron now and potentially start to threaten turns off of this, and they will do exactly that right now. Faker still has TP.
Yeah, Doran is towards the top side as well, so he can rotate down, but they're going to have to get a move on. As Raptor realizing he's the only one in the pit.
I think they just wanted Faker's TP, and T1 do not take the bait. Oh, I see that. Faker does actually, in fact, TP into mid.
모르는
And he finally has level 3 hijack as well, so that Dominus will be doing as much as Clears. The last couple of times he picked a fight with the Crocodile, it was one level behind, which really is a big deal. And now he's got a Sterix Gauge. He's level 18, moving very swiftly towards level 19. Sterix, one of those items that really does work better when you have way more levels than everyone else.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy how levels can impact items like that. And the value of this Executioner's Calling into the Rek'Sai was quite huge. It's pretty good into the Silas as well.
And the Ambessa,
yeah,
who has a death stance first. So it kind of doing more than you'd expect.
Yeah, maybe he should finish it.
Could, or could just like, maybe it's just like one of those things, you know, it makes you feel even better if it's just an Executioner's Calling for the entire game.
Yeah, I guess, I don't even know if there's a, tooltip for the heal denied, probably not. But,
oh yeah, like that counts how much healing is denied?
You'd be like, just putting that in the post game, by the way, look at how much value for gold I got with this
just like
item.
stop pinging it over and over again. Heck yeah.
But getting a GA would also feel really nice, because it's very difficult to kill him, and killing him a second time just sounds kind of out of the question, unless the fight is won despite it.
Yep.
As we do have the Shadow Flame down for Vikla now. He has been behind Faker a lot of this game, but still made a lot of impacts with his charms. And for the rest of this game, it's really about, can T1 secure Cloud Soul or win a team fight on the Dragon to then get Baron to kind of close this one out. I think that's what T1 need. In terms of gold, it's 1.3k at 30 minutes, not the biggest gold lead. Nothing really to write home about.
Yep, and we do actually have those healing reduced numbers. 2,763
와, 이거 진짜
health.
그냥
That's a
B&K가
lot.
리드하고 있네,
That's quite a
게임을.
lot.
And over 300 regen.
Yeah, not too bad. So T1 now set up around this dragon that is going to be coming up in 25 seconds.
솔직히 운영하면
BNK
T1만큼
finally
잘하는
actually
팀도
here to fight
없는데.
for it, not wanting T1 to get a free soul. I think that makes a lot of sense. And let's see whether Diablo can actually make himself known here on the map, because so far, bit of a quiet game for the Sivir this time.
This is
As
really
in game one, he was definitely one of the main characters.
It's really tricky for T1 to fight this out because the positioning of Diablo is so good. Look at Owner wrapping around, trying to find an angle onto this AD carry. They need to kill Diablo. That's the only target they want.
오.
Great charm going to connect that onto Owner. Not able to buffer any public executions this time.
Look at Clear's positioning as well. He's also threatening on the flank.
Yep. And does have the Cloud Rift there as well to make sure that he's real speedy. As Dorian gets the knockout.
클리어 먼저 물렸는데 날렸고 이때 들어가야 되는데
Gets rid of Doran here in this moment. Public execution comes down.
이거 안 들어가면 큰일 나는데.
However, he does slice his way out even through the exhaust. But now going to have to be teleporting back into this fight. The dragon has already been started here by T1.
혹시 몰라요. 아리 들어왔고 아리. 아리는 풀로 뺐고.
Faker steals away his ultimate though. Is now Diablo having to flash, but he'll be taken out
아우
of space.
페이커 씹었어요.
From the back line. He'll get rid of the Poppy as well, and now Faker's popping off, getting those resets, and finally Clear comes back in, but he's alone.
내내까지 물면서
fighting just too good
T1.
and it's only Raptor that lives to tell the tale.
And Vicla's gambit of going in there, looking for Faker, absolutely does not pay off, and it's in that moment the rest of T1 get on top of Diablo. And their objective in this fight was to secure Dragon. They didn't need to win the fight. They were trying to zone. The
드레이크
initial
총
setup was
4개
really good for
내주면서
BNK. Kellen also using his
압도적으로
Keeper's Verdict
버프죠.
very early. And I think he
가져왔고요.
really will regret this choice because he only gets Doran.
이러면은
And now can no longer affect
T1
the
이겼어.
zoning here or really positioning of anybody to try to win the war of attrition to secure Dragon. Dragon's so healthy, BNK aren't looking for a flip anymore, and they get a little bit indecisive here. And Raptor, look at he's hanging out, he wants to try to look for the steal. Then Vicla goes in here, and look at who's now opened up. It's Diablo. Doran gets on top of him. He's showed back up in the fight. The follow-up is easy. And T1 get Cloud Soul and Baron. And I think that is likely enough for them to tie us up 1-1.
Yep, that's feeling pretty lights out here for BNK, who just didn't have the same level of cohesion that we'd seen throughout the rest of this series in that team fight. The fact that On The Hunt got 0 value because they hear the Sivir get real loud and yelling and stuff like that. T1 then immediately back away. And BNK weren't able to then turn that into something like a dragon take for themselves or anything like that. T1 just bide their time, come back, take them down. So BNK back to the drawing board here. They still have a scary team fighting composition as it's a great charm to connect onto Faker. It's not looking too consequential at this point in time, and these spirit rushes that Faker has been using have been pretty diabolical.
Pretty horrifying. Silas speedy. And with Cloud Soul, it's pretty insane. IE's done for Diablo. It's going to have to put it to good work here on this defense. Sivir can buy you so much space against Baron because her wave clear, as you can see on your screen and with your eyes right now, is pretty bonkers. But it's still not going to. Okay, hold up. Diablo.
시비르.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see.
이건
Diablo, I don't think it's going to be
너무
able to
실수인데?
shield that one as Raptor looks to try and put Faker into the
이건
cataclysm, and it does
디아블 너무
not work.
실수인데요?
This is game over, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot have a Sivir step that far forward. As Clear says, yes, in this game I was very fed, but unfortunately if my whole team dies, I cannot do it alone. That's going to be the ace, and T1 just go from winning a team fight to game over in the click of your fingers.
Yep, that's all it takes. And poor Diablo, he cleared that wave really hard.
He did.
But he could not clear the
넥서스를
champions.
깨면서
And maybe
GG.
he didn't need to clear the wave quite that hard.
It's crazy when you watch the collapse onto him. The Diablo in him, looking for the angle. And T1 with a really nice play there on the Dragon. And some missteps, I think, for BNK, frankly, around the Keeper's
와,
Verdict.
클리어 진짜.
Vicla trying to go in, looking for the Dragon steal, meant that not only do they lose the Dragon, but they lose the team fight, they lose the Baron, and they lose the game.
Yeah, and we were saying about the amount of pressure that was on Kellen. I think later on in the game, the Keeper's Verdicts just didn't quite find the angles, and it meant that T1's Phalanx was just able to stay together. They were able to push forward. Pays was just shooting wherever he likes, as you can see here, almost doing as much damage as the incredibly fed Renekton in this game. And we know Renekton even though he's got a lot of scales, scaling isn't quite his forte. It's a little bit ironic there. But it is now time for us, ladies and gentlemen, to take a short break. When we get back, the Space is going to break down that game number 2, and then we are going to have a best of 3 from here. Guaranteed at least another 2 games, and that is exactly what we wanted to see. We'll see you back here for game number 3
다 보고
real soon.
싶은데 근데 여기 너무 밤새면서까지는 힘들 것 같아. 그러면 오늘 뭐 내일 아침에 결과 확인하겠지만은 BNK랑 T1 둘 다 너무 잘하는 팀들이어서 어떻게 할지 모르겠네요. 그러면 전 이만 자러 가보겠습니다. 너무 졸려요. 바이바이 하겠습니다. BNK 잘하더라. 바이바이.